Hey guys, Ryan here. It's 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to have a few people hopefully joining the call. My name is Ryan Steinolfson. I am the founder of DIY AI and also Accelerate Marketing. And I'm going to have, Sean's in the back office and also backstage, and so is Barb. And also I'm going to have Nate joining here in a little bit. The goal today is to help you as a business owner or even if in your personal life, if you want to set up an agent to help you get things done. We're going to go over that today and just talk about agents, what they are, what the difference between an agent is, and what most people have been using large language models for the past 2 years to do. There's a big difference, and we'll go over that today. But for you guys that don't know who I am, again, I'm the founder of DIY AI and also Accelerate Marketing, which is a digital marketing agency that's been around for about almost 20 years. And what we do is the DIY AI though helps businesses to basically like leverage artificial intelligence or AI to get things done so that you guys can accomplish more, get more leads, convert more leads. And it's going to be interesting to bring Sean in today because that's one of the things that he's been working on. So I'm really curious to see what kind of progress he's made. If you guys want, you can go visit our website at diyai.ai. It's a conversational AI agent that you'll learn about on that website. We help businesses answer the phone with digital employees, or in other words, conversational AI agents that can respond either via voice, text, chat on the website, etc. Which I'm sure Sean's going to give us some insight on today, because I know he's been on a learning spree. He's in Portugal and he's learning how to help businesses to leverage conversational AI in Europe, which is a much different market than North America. There's just not as much adoption in that market, so there's a lot more opportunity. I mean, it's like showing people fire for the first time. When you let them hear an AI agent, or you show them an AI chat widget that they can add to their website that answers questions. If you guys want to go to our school community, it's free, skool.com/DIY-AI. And then you can call or text us at 561-861-3238. And then Nate's in the backstage as well. Nate is an agency owner. Sean is an agent. I can say Sean's an agency owner now as well. No, he's like, no. Okay, I'm going to add him. And then Barb is an agency owner. So we've got, I'm going to add these guys to the stage. If you guys have any questions, please just chat, whatever. We got like 7 or 8 people watching, lurking. Besides the people that are in the backstage. And it looks like Nate's got his computer working, and he just upgraded his internet, I think, this week. I had to give him a hard time because it was brutal last week. Anyway, all right. So let me invite these guys. What do you think, Nate? So did I just embarrass you? You're like, oh my God.
Great introduction, as always.
That was great. Okay. Glad you like that. And then let me add Sean. There's Sean.
Hey guys, hear me?
Yep, we can. And then Barb, I don't know if Barb, you there?
I'm here, but you fellas can have the stage if you want. I can just listen in. I'm an OG as far as Ryan goes. We've known each other since the Blab days. And I'm also really big into responsible AI. And every Thursday, I stream live with Madeline Sklar about the latest in AI. And we're going to be talking about agents too, so I didn't want to miss out. And besides, as an old lady, Ryan's one of the most handsome men I've met online. And I like to watch and learn from him. And I am a member of his school community. So it's up to you fellas. If you want me here with you, I'll stay. Otherwise, I can.
Oh, thanks, Barb. I'm turning red now. All right. So hopefully we'll learn some good stuff today. I'm going to definitely do my best, because if we can learn some stuff, it's going to be from these guys as well, because these guys, Sean, as I was stating, and yes, Barb, we go, back quite a ways, 10 years ago, or somewhere around there, where, we were just live streaming, and, it was coming out with Facebook Live, etc., Periscope. And fast forward to today, wow, what a different world. We talked about that the last time that we were on, or that, that I was on with you. And glad to hear that you're doing your own show talking about agents, because, agents can be very, very powerful. And I'm trying to help Nate implement agents in his business, so that he can, Nate just hired and is in the process of hiring people. And I'm like, you're in probably the most unique situation where you're growing. You're one of the few businesses right now that are in this moment in time trying to scale. And you've got an alternative now that we've never had before, which is to actually, instead of hiring a human to do some of this work, you can actually hire an AI agent or train an AI agent to do the work. And that's what is so unique about Nate's specific situation, and even Sean's. And with that, before I go to you, Nate, Sean, let's get an update on you, because last we spoke, Sean, you were, implementing conversational AI agent into the Portuguese market there. And how's that going?
Oh, well, I was more interested in hearing about what Nate's doing, but real quickly, yes. So it's slow going. I'm still working on putting together the stack, really, of how this technology is going to work. It's a lot different here than it is in the US. Getting phone numbers. I've got to consider things like different languages, and the fact that most people here use WhatsApp.
Yep.
More than telephone, especially, international European travelers, when they come here, they want to use WhatsApp to contact restaurants and things like that. So I've been working on trying to integrate WhatsApp into the process. But what I have been able to do is actually put together a stack where I'm using something called VAPI for the AI agent. VAPI that makes the AI agent. And then going back and forth between Twilio, and then there's a company here called Telnix to get the actual phone numbers that I can use, and then integrate with the client's phone numbers. And then I'm using something called Make, which brings everything together. This was the learning experience for me. So what it actually does is it brings together VAPI, and it brings together Twilio, and then it sends emails. So what I've been able to set up, and I showed this to a potential client. He didn't have a lot of time, and we've been trying to reschedule to go in and really do a deeper dive on it. But I did create a landing page for him. Mm-hmm. And then with an AI agent on it, but more importantly was the voice agent. Mm-hmm. So I went in and showed him the voice agent, where we dialed the number, and it said, the restaurant's called Infusion, and said, "Hi, how are you? Welcome for calling Infusion. How can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to make a reservation." "Sure. How many people? What date?" And it was so seamless. Like you could really almost not tell that it was an AI. You could at points, but when he heard that, he was like, "Whoa, like, wow, okay, right, this is really interesting." And then, after we finished, it hung up, and it sent an email right to the guy. Well, it sent it to me, but I showed him, and in the subject line, I was able to create this, which took forever, but I was able to create a response. So in the subject line of the email, it says, "Spencer, party of 4. Friday evening, 7:30 p.m." Right.
And you can even integrate that with a calendar and put that like on the calendar or with a CRM. And this is what I'm working with Nate on. I mean, what you just described was where I was 2.5 years ago. I mean, we were, I talked to the guys at Bland. They were after I attended my first AI conference down in Miami, because all I wanted to do was, and I've told this story many times with Nate, all I wanted to do was learn how to make the AI have a voice so that I could actually have it answer the phone for our clients. Because the number one problem that I've had in talking to thousands of business owners over the past 20 years is they just were not aware that they're not answering the phone. And so I just wanted to solve that problem for them. And because I knew that would create instant value. And I knew that the AI was going to get better over time, which it has. So I immediately hired a programmer, Alex, who I've had for, been working with for 5 years now. And we've been working on this. I mean, I had him working on other things, but I moved him over to working on this. And, that transitioned into another software that we've created as well, that is more of a lead gen software that Nate's using. But, it's great that you're doing that you're going through that experience. And you are going to, I mean, it's like I said, it's like showing people somebody fire for the first time when they actually hear the agent work, when they hear it answer the phone. Nate's been experiencing with this with his clients for the past year and a half. And now it's just standard. We just listen to the calls. It's like, we're used to it. We're looking to make it to optimize it, to make it better all the time. And we're doing things, we're adding things to the AI, like, for example, having it screen out for robocalls, because that's one of the things that Nate said he really wanted. His clients were getting, robocalls saying, hey, have you optimized your Google business profile, or, whatever, and call us up, blah, blah. Businesses get hundreds of those calls every month, some of them. And so we wanted to prevent those calls. And we're adding this type of, value add features now, to our conversational AI software. And, you'll do the same thing over time. That's offered, by the way, that's offered through Twilio. Twilio does offer that robocall prevention, if you will. And then, so that's awesome. And then, what I've been working on with Nate, and I'm really interested to hear, once why they wouldn't move forward would be, silly, especially if you can give them like a 2 or 3 or 4 week trial, to show them the results that they can get. How many, it's replacing an employee. How much was that employee? Sometimes, and Nate, I think, would agree with this, sometimes we lose sight of the fact of the value that we're actually giving our clients. Like, if they actually hired a person to do what the digital employee is doing, it would cost thousands of dollars a month in order to hire that employee, to do it at the level that the AI does it, because it does the same thing every time. You don't have to train it again. Nate, by this time, I bet your businesses that you're working with probably would have had to replace the AI agent, the equivalent of the AI agent in the human form, probably once or twice. Would you agree? I mean, in a year's period of time, you get about 1 or 2 turnovers. And so that alone right there is probably 20 to 40 hours of work that they just avoided because they've trained their agent once and they didn't have to retrain it, because the AI agent isn't leaving. It's not going. It's not gonna tell you all of a sudden, hey, I can't show up tomorrow, I'm going to take another job, and leave, without really giving you too much of an alternative. So those are all the hidden, value adds that sometimes we just take for granted, within this new, AI, economy that is now starting to happen. And, it's really interesting to hear, Nate and some of the ideas that he's got to make our software better, because it really is changing over time, the software and what we're doing and how we're delivering value. And every week that we meet Monday, Wednesday, and Friday typically, to go over like the current state of the software and what we can do to make it better. So we're adding things to it, like having the AI actually evaluate itself and how it's answering the phone. So it'll go back and listen to the transcripts of how it actually responded itself and how the humans responded, in order to give really good feedback to the business owner, so that the business owner can actually help his humans answer the phone more effectively. And so those are, and that what we're also doing is we've identified some issues that come up every once in a while. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that Nate and Mary, his employee, don't have to go and find those issues. We want the AI to go find those issues on its own so that Nate and Mary don't have to go and find those issues and report them to us, so that we can actually be proactive and use the AI for what it's really good at, which is doing repetitive tasks over and over again, which is one of the tools that you can use. And I'll just, say that, like there's a new slash, it's called slash goal. So what you do is you just give the AI agent a slash goal directive, and it then will go after that goal. And we can go over that today until it actually executes the goal. So this is what's different about what we're setting up today, which is not just conversational AI agents. We're actually setting up agents that can work at a goal until it accomplishes it. And that's what I'm trying to get Nate to do, is to think about these agents not just as a quick prompt and then get an answer, but rather an employee that you assign tasks to or goals to in order for it to work on those goals until it accomplishes them, like an employee would. And so that's what Claude's able to do. Now, over the past 5 days, there's been a lot that's happened. And I sent you, Sean, the Fable 5, and I really encouraged you, Nate, to use Fable 5 before it got banned. Did you guys know that Fable 5 got banned? Yeah. So, I mean, that shows you the power that we're dealing with right now. We're literally, the US government stepped in and said, you know what? This technology is too powerful. And that's what when I sent it to you on Saturday, Sean, I'm like, you've got to just go and use this tool now. And I said that to you, Nate, as well. Go and use it. And a lot of people are frustrated that they didn't, although I think they're going to relaunch it again. I think they're in about a week or two or less, maybe even as soon as the day after tomorrow. A lot of people are saying they're going to relaunch Fable because I think they've dealt with the issues that the government was concerned about. But, people were prepared to just like go gangbusters over the weekend and start, using it to create websites, Sean, like you're creating, but like $10,000 websites with one prompt. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw that video that I actually sent you. That YouTube
I did.
Video. Yeah.
It did. And by the way, I logged on to Claude one day and it said, oh, try Fable for free for, something. And I didn't click on it because I didn't have time. And then like the next time I logged on, it said, oh, Fable 5 has been discontinued for the time being. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it was gone.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that I think they might, if the government gets its way, U.S. government, it's just going to be available for U.S. citizens. And so that's what's crazy.
I might be out of luck. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm okay. I've got what I need so far.
Yeah.
Eventually,
yeah. Yeah.
So what does Nate do? I'm interested to hearing about Nate.
Nate, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I am an agency owner. I own a couple companies. Sky Media Ventures, we're a niche agency that focuses with pool builders and pool companies. And then directphoneCalls.com, which that's more general, but we're niche in the service we provide. About 2.5 years ago, I went on YouTube on how to learn local service ads, a type of ad unit that Google offers. We don't do pay-per-click, we don't do meta ads at all. And then when I'm looking up on YouTube on videos on how to optimize local service ads and make it better, I run across a guy named Ryan Steinolfson YouTube channel. And so I decided to DM him and reach out to him and just basically let him know that I thought a lot of this stuff was good, but I also had questions and stuff like that. Found out that he had a school community, joined a school community like Barb. I think Barb said that she also joined a school community. But then I found out Ryan lived 1 hour away from me, coincidentally. So then I got in my car and I drove up to go see Ryan. And turned out it was a great relationship because Ryan created a software that turns local service ads on steroids. And because I've been able to sell local service ads to my clients very well, we've been able to use the software on the ads and collect a bunch of data and case studies with basically our entire book of business with Sky Media Ventures. So Ryan has had the opportunity to use Sky Media Ventures as like a guinea pig for his software that he created called LSA Command, because we sell LSA to these pool companies. We use the software. So and it's been great. I mean now we started off selling the service for $700-800 a month, but because his software it's so impactful with LSA, now we quote people $2,500 and they will buy. And we changed up our offer too, because we're so confident that the ads work so effectively. They're producing all these direct phone calls, message leads. We'll give someone 2 weeks free trial. We won't even put them in a contract, because we're trying to keep our barrier to entry very low. Like, they really, a lot of people hate contracts. A lot of people don't like paying without like a lot of results showing. So we're just like, remove the contracts and then let's give everybody 2 weeks free trial to get their phones ringing. Mm-hmm. And then what's cool about the software is we can put that on their website, on their LSA. And so basically what we're doing is we're creating this positive neuro association towards all these leads that are coming in with our clients to our company. So like every time their company gets a lead, in some way, shape, or form, it's branded Sky Media Ventures. And that's not because of my doing. That's 100% Ryan. Like, Ryan has really like changed my life. He's changed my company's life, and he's changed like my employees' life, because the software just makes it so much easier to manage everything. So that's it right there. That's, I'm 2 years into my agencies and trying to hit $83K a month. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it will happen.
Yeah, no, it definitely will. I mean, Nate's really, he was working with another agency as a salesperson, and it was funny because they were saying you can't sell local service ads at the amount that you're selling it for, or you want to sell it for. And, if you, just like anything, if you focus on something, you can really improve it, and you can make it so that, because really local service ads, I'll sell it, not just LSA, but local service ads, Google local service ads, is a black box for a lot of agencies. Meaning they don't know like how to improve it, because it's not the typical optimization that you would do for Google Business Profile optimization. It's really the 3 R's: reviews, radius, response rate. And that's what we're able to focus on, with AI. And my team does that at Accelerate. That's what they do. So so that's what we're leveraging. And I'm it's really cool, Nate, that you're able to really give more value to your clients as a result, so that you can, because a lot of business owners, a lot of what we do is we do things like fill out surveys for the client, so that on their behalf, to give Google feedback on the type of leads that the business owner is getting, and that tells Google what type of leads to send that business in the future. So we're giving Google feedback through the software that we've built on the type of leads that are being sent to the client, so that they can get more of the better leads. But yeah, that's really, and we're just trying to identify, what is really going to move the needle for, for somebody that's using, or that is trying to optimize Google local service ads. I mean, I've been, doing that for businesses for years now, for 20 years. Actually, Google local service ads has been around for about 11. Before that, it was Google Business Profile. And for the past 11 years, we've been optimizing local service ads. And so if you spend that amount of time, you start learning some of these strategies that really can move the needle and help get results for businesses. But yeah, I think that, Nate, you're going to be able to, because, and this is what I was encouraging you to do, Sean, is to identify businesses that really have a high value end client. Like what businesses in your market deal with a client that has when they acquire that client is worth a decent amount of revenue. Generally speaking, the higher the revenue, the more that any type of lead generation strategy makes sense. And so, because when you can, a restaurant is going to be more volume. Their client is going to, what's the average table worth? $100, for I don't know. So, whereas Nate's clients, the average client in his vertical is worth $50,000 to $100,000. You get one client, and so, so it becomes pretty interesting at that point. And he even just had a client say, "Hey, we're getting too many leads. Can you turn it down turn the volume of leads down for a little bit?" That's a really good situation to be in. And then yeah, so Nate, what I was going to show you, I mean, the last time that we had spoken, we were setting up your agent, because that's what the title is today, is how small businesses are using Codex and Claude Code to basically like manage their business. How are businesses using Claude Code? Because a lot of people think of Codex and they're like, oh my God, it's a coding. I can't. It just sounds confusing. I think OpenAI really made a mistake naming it that. Even using the word code at all is scares a lot of people off, which is one of the reasons why Claude Code they created what's called Cowork, which is what I'm encouraging Nate and you as well, Sean, or anybody to start using. Because one thing that Claude has done that I think will make it very easy for people to adopt their platform and use it is they've got these plugins that make it so that you've already got prompts that basically they've got these plugins that are really just prompts that are already created for you, that you just click a button and then it just pulls that prompt right into your Claude Cowork or Claude Code, whichever one you're using, and then it just does it. So it just starts working with whatever skill it is, because these prompts are really just skills. I mean, a skill is a prompt that's done on a recurring basis, or that's used over and over again. And that's really what the difference is between, like I said earlier, an agent and just using, these large language models as a prompt. A prompt is just like one engagement. You just have one conversation with it, you go back and forth with it, and then that's over. Whereas a skill, if you do something over and over again, what you do is you tell the agent, okay, make a skill out of this. And then, because I want to use this multiple times in the future, that skill might be something like, I got one person that said, I to create a Facebook, or to create an ad to hire an employee. So that's a skill, because there's different processes that person goes through in order to create that job listing that they don't want to go through every single time. So they'll just create a skill in order to do that thing over and over again. Now, all you've got to do, instead of rewriting that prompt down, you just say, Claude, refer to the job posting skill that I did last month, and just implement that skill. Because what you've done is, once you've done the skill and you know that it works correctly, you tell Claude, or you tell Codex, you just go, hey, make a skill out of this workflow that we just did. And then it does that. It says, okay, I'll make a skill out of this, which is just basically like preserving that prompt for future use. That's all that a skill is. And that's what I was encouraging you to learn more about, Nate, is what skills are, and then how to implement these plugins in Claude Code. You can share your screen if you want. I can, there's a few there's a few plugins that I would encourage you to use and that we could go over. If you want to show your screen, or I can show mine. You want me to show mine?
Yeah, I've been loving
skills. Share your screen? I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that mine's going to get all glitchy.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
I gotta go let my dog out. Hold on.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay, can you see my screen? Nate, can you see my screen?
It's loading up right now.
Okay.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. So hopefully there's not too much of a delay, but this is my Claude Cowork here. And you can see in the upper left, there's either chat, there's Cowork, or there's code. So this is Claude Code, Cowork, and chat. And you can see in all these, there's, at the top selection here is with chat, it's new chat. With Cowork, it's new task. And then code, it's new session. But really, they're all the same thing. It's just I want to have a conversation with the AI in order to get something done. And what I want to do is go to Cowork and go down here to customization or customize. And then if you go here on yours and go to browse plugins, this is what I was encouraging you to do last time. I mean, Nate, like you're a sales guy. Look at this. These plugins are already pre-done for you. They're already pre-made. So you can see it says Vibe Prospecting. So these are skills that are already like created, and all you do is you just click on them, and then you can see it's got one skill, and it says Vibe Prospecting connects Claude to live B2B company and contact data, so users can search, match, enrich, filter, and export prospects at scale. It turns natural language requests into structured GDM workflows for lead generation, CRM enrichment, companies research, executive discovery, and multi-step prospecting automation. So there, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, it'd be a valuable skill, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So here, if I go into here and I go to, let me go back here. If I go to Vibe, if I go back to here, if I go to customize and go to browse plugins again, and if I go here to this little gear here, and I click on this box, find company and contact information. This is the Vibe prospecting section. Now I can go right here and I can click on these and I can go try in chat. So now it goes, remember I said / goal? Well, what it does is it creates this / Vibe prospecting, which is, and basically it's saying, okay, I want you to use this prospecting skill, okay? And then all you do is you say, okay, this is how I want you to use this prospecting skill. I want you to identify small businesses that have a Google business profile page and not a Google local service page in Miami that are in the insurance vertical, life insurance. So, now that's going to run. So it's working on that. It's using Opus 4.8, and it's really that simple. Now it's gonna work on this on this particular skill, using this particular skill, and it's gonna give you feedback here. I'll set this up first. Let me check whether Vibe Prospecting Connector is available. Since in the Cowork mode, that's the required path. It's going to look to see if you actually have connected that skill or added that skill, which I think I did before. API is overloaded. We're trying now. Okay, so the API, yeah. So there's let's see, building a slide deck, give Claude your source material and a brief. But this is what you can do. So this is what I want. I would encourage you to do, Nate, in order to. Here we go. So connect by it isn't connected yet, so I guess I'm going to connect it. Boom.
Okay.
Is that a third-party skill creator? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's a third-party tool. I haven't used it myself, actually. I use Hermes Agent, but I want to keep it simple for you guys. So I'm not getting into that, but this is the simple way to start using agent technology in order to start getting things done for your business. And it's as simple as purchasing a subscription, which, by the way, is probably the biggest secret in this whole thing, is that you can go and purchase. It's like it's kind of crazy if you, in my opinion, don't go and purchase a subscription for either Codex or like either OpenAI at the $100 or $200 level plan, or the same for Claude, because they're giving you such a discount for the tokens when you purchase the subscription. It's insane. I mean, they're literally giving you. So there's two ways to use the tokens. It's either through a subscription or it's through the API. And if you use the API, the cost per token is like 10 to 15 times more than if you just get a subscription for, let's say, $100 or $200 for them. So what's happening is OpenAI and Claude is subsidizing the subscriptions for people to start using their platform and to get used to it. So it's like you get the equivalent, I've been told, at the $100 plan of almost $7,000 worth of tokens on both Claude and OpenAI at the $100 plan. At the $200 plan per month, you get the equivalent of almost $14,000 worth of tokens. So you can see why I'm saying it's kind of silly if you don't take advantage of these subscriptions right now and this technology. Now, Claude Code is going to be coming out with 5.6, which right now they're at 5.5. They're going to come out with 5.6 sometime in the next week or two. I think Fable's going to come back on the market in about a week or two. And I'm telling you, we're turning the corner right now with these large language models, where I can tell that I don't have to give these models as much of a prompt in order for them to really go and get really powerful shit done. That's what we all want, right? We want to be able to tell Mary, Nate, like one time, go do this, go vibe prospect, and go find 250 businesses that have a Google business profile page that are in the insurance vertical, and they don't have a Google local service ads page in Miami. Go do it. And then just do it. It'll just do it. And without any other prompting other than that. And that's a really simple example, but you get the point. I mean, that's where we're at right now with these models. That's what Fable was like. It was like, you could tell it just behaved differently. Like, you didn't have to remind it to do things. It just did it. And it inferred a lot of the way that you and I think. So based on what I was telling it, it would be like, it would just come to conclusions that Opus 4.8 or 4.6 did not come to. It just didn't. It wasn't in its realm of awareness, and it wouldn't it just wouldn't get things done as quickly as a result, because I had to constantly give it feedback and give it input. So I'm saying, like, you couldn't pick a better time than right now to really start using these tools with a subscription, because you're getting so much value in terms of the ability to use these tools with the token that they give you. It's like it's super inexpensive. So, to say the least, I mean, I've got a I'm at the $200 subscription for Codex, and I'm at the $100 for Claude, and I'm probably going to go up to 200 for both pretty soon, because I'm using that amount of compute. I mean, that's really, it's like talking about electricity. Like, how much electricity am I using? And so that's really, I think it's the smart use of tokens that is really going to make the difference between one business and another in the next 6 to 12 months. The efficient use of a massive amount of tokens is really gonna differentiate one agency, Nate, and what they're able to do versus another. It's really going to become very, very evident who is using a massive amount of tokens with the right efficiency. And so that's why I'm like, right now, I'm spending as much as I can so that I can learn how to communicate with these models and set up like these skills and these cron jobs now, so that I'm ready when these models like Fable 5 come back or 5.6 come out, in order to have the scaffolding in place to be able to just say, okay, go do these skills now, and have them do and get some really valuable work done, So does that make sense though?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it makes sense.
That's why I'm really encouraging both of you guys to, whether that's Sean for you, going and like, for example, for you, instead of you going and learning all this stuff about connecting Twilio to to Vappy or to any, I mean, you could literally tell Fable 5 what it is that you want as an outcome. And then all you do is you give it access to the API for Twilio, and you give it access to the API or connection that it requires for Vappy. And then you just tell it what to do, and it freaking does it, and it's done. And you don't have to go through any brain damage to get there, because
it wasn't easy, man. And by the way, Claude, it was, we went through a lot of iterations, and Claude we were going in circles, like, oh, we have this error now. Okay, we got to do this. Oh, okay, now I get it. Now we have to do this.
Right.
And it wasn't right. We were going in circles, and I even said, wait a second, we did this before.
Right.
And it went, you're right, we did.
So this is exactly what I'm trying to communicate with you, that is happening. That's where we're about to turn the corner. The experience that you've had with having this, this loop happen sometimes with these large language models is not going to happen with Fable 5. It's not going to happen with 5.6. You're still able to get stuff done, right? Because honestly, if you didn't have what you had, access to, which is probably Opus 4.8, you wouldn't have been able to make any progress, let alone, do anything. But so at least you're able to get something done and realize that, okay, wait, we've been here before. Let's take a different route. And you're having to be the human in the loop. My point is that with these new models, you're not going to have to be as much in the loop anymore, because it figures it out for you. Does that make sense?
Well, hopefully I'll have enough clients to have to use that.
Yeah. Well, look, it's, I know it's $100 or $200 a month sounds like a lot, but to be able to get the equivalent of almost $7,000 to $14,000 in compute or token use is going to be absolutely worth it, because what's your time worth? What is all that time that you spent worth if you could have just spent $50 or $100 of really good token use on Victual 5 to get the answer and to get it done in 30 minutes without you having all that brain damage, is it worth it? I think it's probably worth it, and that's my stance on it. And so anyway, so that's what's coming. And if you just do the things like I just showed you, Nate, like using those plugins, and I mean, I can show you again, like where we're at, in terms of the use of it now. It is running. It's saying the one thing I want to flag, connecting the card and let me know. I'll verify schema and run 5 sample before any pull the Miami Life Insurance. Okay. For filter, small businesses are well within the Explorium Vibe prospecting database can do, but has a Google business profile, but not a Google local service ads page. Distinction is a Google specific presence signal that this database most likely does not expose as a filter. Okay, that's good feedback. This is where you would use or connect, and this is a really good point, is you can connect, and let me show my screen here so you guys can see this. Because I was showing you this, Nate, the other day. So the value of a agent is limited by the connectors that you have it connected to. Because if you don't have it connected to the right resources, then it cannot get done what you need it. Like, for example, you, Sean, I was saying, you've got to have it connected to Twilio, and you've got to know how to connect it to Twilio using their API, which, I mean, I have a lot of experience doing. I've done it many, many times, along with connecting to Vapi and their API, so that you can connect those two things together. So those are two connectors that you would want. And for you, Nate, you would want to use a tool called Appify. Okay. So API-FY, I'll show you in a second, or SERP API. Those are tools that can go and identify businesses that have a Google business page, but not a Google local service ads page. Okay. So, and I know this because, I mean, ask me how I know, because this is
how you know.
Yeah. Because this is how I'm doing my cold outreach. I mean, so I'm having it, I'm using, burner emails, 5 of them, because we can send 50 emails a day per email that I purchased. And I purchased them through a company called Instantly, which I connect to as well. So then you connect those to Appify, and then you can do this. You can have the agent just basically take over that entire process, and all you've got to do is give it a /goal and say your goal is to your main KPI, because you got to make it. It needs to know what good looks like. What does it look like to actually achieve the goal? Well, the goal is to send out 250 emails a day. That's the goal for right now. Once it does that, the next goal is going to be getting an open rate of greater than 10%, or whatever that next KPI is. Okay. So those are the kind of goals that you can assign your agents over time. And, that's really the main thing that, if you can just understand those concepts, I mean, you can really go a long way. I would just encourage you, Nate, to really start using, Claude Code and using those plugins. And let me show my screen again here. Hold on one second. So, if I go to Claude here, okay. So if I go here to customize, I can connect to your app. So here's all the connectors. This is how easy it is to connect them. You just go plus, and then it'll go to Lovable, and you just log in with your Google, and then you create a Lovable account, and then Lovable is connected. Does that make sense? And
yeah.
And then, oh wait, sorry, I didn't mean to connectors. Okay, so here's all my connectors. Okay, Canva, Composio, GitHub, Gmail, GoDaddy, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Granola, PayPal, Slack, Stripe, Supabase for Sell, Vibe Coding. Okay, here's Appify. So you can see that I've got all these tools that I can use as connectors to have the agent get things done. For example, I have my agent looking at my Gmail, looking at my granola, which is my AI agent that basically, whenever I can't record a conversation that I have with somebody that I want to record, I can use Granola instead of Google Meet. If I'm not having a Google Meet, I can record the conversation with Granola on my phone or whatever. And then I can also I also have given access to both Codex and Claude Code. I've given them access to my iMessages. So it has full context of all the communication that I'm having. It's got my Gmail, it's got my Granola, it's got my Google Meet, it's got my iMessages. So now it knows all the conversations that I'm having, and it can do things like send follow-up emails for me. And it would it sends over those emails to me before I give it the approval to send it. But those are emails now that are done for me, and I can just read them and approve them and say, okay, yeah, send it, you know? So it's a really big time saver, along with, for example, like preparing me for a meeting. And so here's productivity. So here, let me see. Sales, marketing, small business. Here. Let me go. So you can look at all of the, if you go to customize, hold on one second. Customize. There's a lot of like productivity plugins that have to do with like follow-up. Like let's see, project management. Let's see, where is it? There's even a legal one. Look at this. Like if you want legal insights, speed up contract review, NDA triage, compliance workflows, you can just add this plugin and you've immediately got, a legal skill that you can use to analyze, or basically like help you work through any legal issue, legal questions you have. But Nate, I wanted to show you the productivity. I think. Okay, catch me up and triage stale tasks. What's on my plate today? Remember key context about a project. Set up task and memory system. So these are all the types of things that you can ask in order to leverage these skills. Let me see, for productivity. And then sales.
Productivity is a plugin, or?
Yeah. Yep. It's a plugin. It's just one of these plugins. So you would go in here, go to browse plugins, go to product. Here you can go to. So this is where you could initiate any one of these skills, and then you would say, here, try and chat, and then it puts it in here, and then you could say, so it already has got this / command here, which is basically just implementing that skill, and then if it needs anything from you, it'll tell you that. So this is how you start using those plugins.
Curious, can this connect to LSA command?
No, not yet. It's a good question. Not yet. That would create. We would have. Let's see. Yeah, we could potentially through the API, but that data is. We'd have to get approval from Google. That would be something that we'd have to, because that's really Google's data. You see what I'm saying?
That's the problem I'm having with WhatsApp too, Ryan.
Yeah.
Is that I have to get Meta approval to do all this stuff, to run like a voice agent through WhatsApp.
Yep.
I have not been able to figure out how to do that yet.
Yeah, you've got to go through. I was going to go through that process, and that's why I switched over. You noticed, Nate, to everything was iMessage, because I was like, screw it. I don't want to go through this process of you got to actually like submit your business name to Meta, and it's a nightmare. I mean, it takes a week to 2 weeks, and you've got to.
I'm still waiting for approval to be able to try it.
Yeah, once you do, though, I mean. It'd be interesting to see how that goes and see how that works. It'd be really interesting to hear how that works for you. But yeah, I mean, what other questions that's why I'm using iMessage, because I just want to, less is more. I'd like to keep, I just want to keep it simple. And, the next step, this kind of brings me to the next step of these agents, is right now I'm running these agents when my computer's on with my computer. And for example, I've got iMessage sending my iMessages using another software to my agent from my computer when it's on. But when it's off, or that's the question of, what do you do when your computer's off if you don't have a dedicated computer for running the agent? And that's where I brought up to you, Nate, the other day, this concept of using, a lot of people in the beginning were using what are called VPNs, or virtual private networks. You can get them through Hostinger, and they're, as cheap as like $9 a month. And, they come with a certain amount of storage space, a certain amount of CPU power, and a certain amount of RAM, random access. So basically you have access to basically a remote computer, but you're using what's called the terminal, which is insanely, like, that's where you start getting into code. And it's like DOS. It's for programmers. That's why I went to another route, which is this company called Orgo, that allows you. I brought this up the other day, and we'll wrap it up with this. We've only got like 4 more minutes, but there's companies out there that actually allow you to rent their computers, and it's on a desktop, meaning it behaves more like a regular computer and not like DOS. So it's much more intuitive, much more user friendly. And that's how I'm creating additional instances of what it is that I'm doing with my agents, so the agents can run 24/7. And it's worked really well for me. And I've got a Claude Code agent, and also another agent that is my Hermes agent that's running as well on these Orgo computers. So, and that's what I was going to set up with, for you, Nate. But first, really, you've got to, my suggestion is that you start learning, these skills. I mentioned cron jobs. Cron jobs it's just stand for chronological. So it's a skill that's done on a regular basis. It's like a set it and forget it. You just say, I want you to do this skill at this time on this date. And that's what a cron job is. So you can do cron jobs 24/7 when you have a 24/7 computer. So that's the advantage of having an always on computer. You can have, for example, Nate, like you could have, your Claude Code doing research and cold outreach while you're sleeping, with your laptop closed. And so that's what that would allow.
All this is like, so I'm gonna say this, like, all this is really interesting. I'm reading a book right now. You guys might have known it, by Robert Kiyosaki, called The Cash Flow Quadrant. He talks about when he's moving to the left side, ESBI, employee, self-employed, business owner, investor. And he was saying the difference between self-employed and being a true business owner is having people and systems in place. So I really have to learn all this stuff, because it seems like AI is the systems that nowadays offered versus back in the 90s or back in early 2000, when this book was published. So I really appreciate all this information, Ryan, because I know it's something that I have to learn, for sure.
Well, I have a little piece of interesting information about him. His sister is a Buddhist nun, and I know her. I used to work in hospice care with her when I lived in California.
Really?
Yeah, she's amazing. So it's so funny that you've got these two siblings just completely on the opposite side of the sort of ambition spectrum.
Yeah.
Although she did write a book, but she was worked with the Dalai Lama and spent time in Tibet.
Wow,
it's pretty interesting.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So yeah, good stuff. And I appreciate you guys joining. It's right at 3 o'clock, and we'll be doing this again next week. And that's why I'm saying, like, if I would just encourage you to to keep logging into Claude Code, turning on the plugins, making those turning on the connectors that we started last week, and that's and just keep using the system. Just keep using it to do things and to get things done for you. And I would start with one thing at a time. Like, what is one thing that you would like the agent to do for you, and identify that, and then have it do that until it does it really well, and then you go to the next thing, and then that's really the simplest way to do it. So that's really it. So thanks for joining, guys. And again, if you have any questions, you can go to our website. You can go to our school community, skool.com/DIY-AI. And yeah, you can also call us and at 561-861-3238. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks, Barb.
Thank you.
Later, guys.
Great show, everybody.
Thanks. Bye, guys.